Hey guys, it's me, Liv. I hope everyone's doing good out there. So today is going to be a part one of a series that I'm going to be doing. I am going to be showing the cards and how I came about to make these cards for my guests design team for January, which is Stamplorations. I'm going to be doing a 3-month guest design with them, and I'm going to be using these stencils, my brayer, my gel plate, and creating backgrounds today. Because of the amount of time it takes, I don't think I'll get to making any cards in this one, and that would be the part 2. So you're going to see I'm going to be using 3 different types of inks. I'm going to use my distress inks, my distress oxides, and I'm going to be using some of these Spectranor quick dry dye inks that I also have. So let's see and let's get started. The first thing up is you need to make sure you have some white paper on the side so that you can roll off any excess from your brayer. I just have some super thin paper that I bought that wasn't too fond of, so it works really well here. I thought it was a lot thicker, but when I actually got it, not so. Now I am going to apply this ink straight onto my gel plate. What you're going to find actually when you're using a jelly plate is that it really doesn't need a lot of ink. This stuff holds, so be careful not to be too heavy with it. I'm using 2 different red colors, and then I'm going to go from this yellowy orange color in the middle. I'm going to use my brayer here and just go ahead and kind of smooth that out across the plate. Now, if you do it like this, instead of applying straight on, and you can see just how much ink I managed to take off, it doesn't even look like you have any. That's one of the weird things about the gel plate in terms of what it looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and take that, make sure that's all nice and even and around. I actually want a little bit more of that yellowish color to come through. I guess it's orangey light yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more of that down. I actually just have my gel plate on the top of my Tim Holtz platform. I don't use my big Tim Holtz. It's broken. It gets by, but it is a little bit broken. So I have a new Misty on my Christmas list. Let's see if I've been good and Santa brings me one. So I'm using this one that's called Onions in the Raw. And what an awesome, fantastic pattern it has here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this stencil down. This stencil is about a 5x7 size, just the same as my plate. So that works really well. Now, you can do this 2 ways. What you're going to see me do here is I am going to put my paper down, and I'm actually going to put it on top of the stencil. So what that's going to do is only give you an impression of what is between the stencil options, so the open space is there. So you'll see what I mean, and it'll be a very light impression you're going to get. Now you can go ahead and use your brayer on the back side if you want to make sure that you get it a really good impression, and that is what I'm starting with. Now my next step is I'm actually going to go ahead and lift that stencil, and again, don't be deceived because you can't really see anything. There is definitely ink on that gel plate. So I'm going to go ahead and go back in to this gel plate, press down real firmly, and then I will get the rest of the pattern here that you see. Now, ta-da! Isn't that so cool? Now you can do something like this with multiple colors, which is kind of what you're going to see me do in the next one. I do have a couple of fails. I'm not going to be completely transparent. It doesn't always work, but what's really cool is being able to try it out and see what does. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and go in with this blue color. Then I'm going to go back in with that, I'm going to call it like honeyish type of orange yellow, and kind of get that all up. And I'm going to put a little bit more blue because, again, I know you can't really see it that well, but I just felt it was, color wasn't as even as I'd like. I'm going to go ahead and use my brayer and make sure that ink is kind of all over. Go ahead and take any excess off onto my sheet. Sometimes I go in just to make sure it's smooth. Now what I'm showing you is I never took the ink off of my stencil. That color is still there. Hopefully you guys can see it. So that really light orange. So I'm actually adding now an additional color onto the gel plate. And then I'm actually pulling off some color as well. So it's going to be kind of a cool effect. I hope it works. Let's see. That is what happens when you use the gel plate. You never know exactly what you're going to lift up. But what's great is that you can add multiple layers onto it a lot of times if you try to correct something and get a little bit more up. So there you go. Now that looks really cool. Now I'm going to say my colors weren't as bright as I want. I'm going to have to try this with a different color combination. But I think overall it pretty much worked. I'm going to just see if I can pull up just a little bit more color and see if that gets the effect that I'm looking for. It may not, but not really loving that. I think this one might end up going in the fail bucket. But you know what? I'm going to give it one more shot. And see if I can put a little bit more of that wild honey type of color it has here all over the plate and not have those blocks. So you see those squares that you see on my mistake print? What ended up happening is I didn't smooth it off around enough. So you actually get the lines. That is one thing with the gel plate. It really does hold prints very well. So if you want smoothness, you need to make sure that you use your brayer to get that smoothness. So let me lift this up. Okay, that's better. I think I can make something happen with this. I'm not going to give up on this one yet. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the side. And then we're going to move on to our next one. So now this time I'm going to go ahead and use some Distress inks. I'm putting my pad right on. I did clean my gel plate off camera because I'm going to a different medium and I didn't want to get anything onto my Distress ink pads. These are all in purple shades. I'm going with Ultraviolet, Seedless Preserve, and the lilac one. Now I'm blanking on the name of it. That the last one is. But anyway, let me just go ahead and spread my ink around. These are super juicy, so I'm going to go across and then I'm going to go down a little bit. On this, I am actually going to use another stencil this time. And this one is called, let me get this out of the package so I can actually tell you what it's called. It is called Nestled Circles. So I'm going to go ahead and place this down. And just kind of gently because I don't really want to lose any of the ink that's showing up here. And then get my paper out. Now again, I'm going to keep that stencil down there. I did not lift it because I do want that negative. I'm going to use my brayer just to make sure that I get it up evenly. Hand is fine. Don't know why sometimes I feel like using my brayer and other times I don't. Really no consistency to my method here. But now you see that purple that came up. So I'm going to go ahead and lift the stencil. And like I told you before, do not take this ink off yet. Leave it to the side. You can always use it for another project. I'm going to go ahead and go back on in and press my paper down and try to make sure that I get the rest of the ink that was left from the stencil. So once I have that all set, it is time for the big reveal. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see. Oh, not too bad. Now, I think it's too much of one color, so I'm not loving it. But I think I can make something happen with that one again. Just trimming down and seeing what it looks like at the end. Now I'm going to go back and take these colors as well. And this time I'm just going to do some of the lighter colors here. And then I'm going to spread it all around. And this is only one color. I'm going to go take out that stencil that still has that ink on it. I'm going to go ahead and place that down. Now, if you remember, I've used the lighter purple. Then I'm putting this darker purple, which is really what stood out in the first one. And I'm going to take out my piece of paper. And then I'm going to go back in to that darker purple and see if I can pull up any other color, because I really want to stay away from just one shade of purple. And let's see what we got. Oh, okay, it's add a little bit of dimension, not too much, but it did give me something, so I'm going to go ahead and try to work with that. Now let's move on to doing one more set. I'm again using my Distress inks. This time I'm going in with the blue. This is Tumbled Glass here. And then I'm going to go in the middle. And for the middle color, I am using Weathered Wood and then using Tumbled Glass again. So I'm going to go ahead and use my brayer. Go and spread this out. This one I'm trying not to have the colors combo too much, so just being a little bit lighter, pressuring it in. And again, I'm going back with that same stencil, and I did not clean it. Can you see that purple that's still there? I'm going to go ahead and place it on top of this blue underneath. Gently make sure it's pressed down. Lift it up. And again, you're not really going to be able to see it on the camera. I'm going to get my paper out. So now I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I get some even pressure on here. And let's see what we got. Ooh, I kind of really like that. Look at that. So this is a great way to get two different colors in there. How about that? That's so pretty. All right, I think I can work with that too. Now we're going to moving on to some Distress Oxide. So I'm going to go ahead and put this Mermaid Lagoon on top, then go in with this pistachio, and then finish it off with some worn lipstick. Not sure how this color combination is going to go. I was thinking kind of tropically in my head, so we'll see. Go ahead and just bring it across. If you don't want your colors to mix, you are more than welcome to just do one direction so they don't mix as much, or wipe in between on your excess paper on the side. I really don't mind the melding of the colors because I do like them to pop through, but I completely get if you want to try to get your colors to meld a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and go over this piece. Now I have everything pretty much laid out. And I am going to take out this butterfly stencil. Isn't this one gorgeous? Now, if you guys know, I love butterflies. One of my all-time favorite images. So I'm going to go ahead and first take up that color with the butterflies there, so it blocks out a lot of the space. Then I'm going to lift it up. Let's see what we end up getting. Look at that. Now you could just leave it like that. You could have that white pop out. That is perfectly fine if that's how you want it to be. You know, it's completely up to you. I decided I wanted to go back in and pick up that color from the butterflies just to see what this is going to look like. And I'll set it just a tiny bit so it almost looks like the white isn't edging on it. And let's see if my thinking of how this is going to look actually worked the way I thought it was going to. Look at that. What a cool effect. I think I got to play around with this one a little bit more, because I think I have a lot of ideas of how I can use this butterfly stencil here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and then take some new colors. I have this Spiced Marmalade, again, with using Distress Oxides. Then I'm going to come in with this, that Mermaid Lagoon that you saw me use earlier, and finish it off with some, I think this is the Crackling Fire, Campfire one, and one of the newest ones, that colors that Tim Holtz came out with. So I'm just going to try to make sure that that's nice and even all over the plate. Take any excess off, then go back with my blue and have that. Take any excess off, and then again do the same. That's what you would do if you're just trying to prevent too much color going all over the place. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that same stencil that has all that color on it and put it down. I never took the color off because this is going to give a whole nother dimension to it. I'm going to put that onto my Gelli plate. And now it's time to see what this is going to look like when I put my paper down. Give it a nice rub, and then I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. Let's see. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? Then I'm going to go ahead and look at all that color that's on there. Oh my goodness. I'm like drooling over my own combo here. So then I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Going to try to again pick up those butterflies that were there originally. And let's see. I want to make sure because that's one of the things with Gelli plate. You can't go back too much to get it exact, but oh, I'm loving it. Love, love, love. Now for my final one here, I could spend all night just doing backgrounds, but you guys are probably going to get bored of that pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and just take the butterflies that were originally on the piece without adding any more ink to see what I end up getting. You get a very light type of background if that's something you're trying to do. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? This could be something you want if you want a very muted pastel type of thing. You can definitely use that. I'm going to go ahead, go in with some of this worn lipstick oxide and spread it all over the back. And see if I can bring out some more of this pinkish shade here onto the plate. Go back in with the same exact paper that I used. And go ahead and make sure I do nice even pressure. Lift it up. I have to say I just kind of like the color combo, but it didn't come out like I was hoping. So I'm going to take my nice juicy butterfly, add that here so that I get that color pressed down. And again, I want the same layered look here that I was doing before. And see what I get. And let me pull this up. Trying my hardest not to get my fingers at all on a Gelli plate. Put it down. And sometimes the suspense is really killing me. I really want to lift it up quick, but I know I got to get that good impression for it. And OMG. I think this may be one of my favorites. It is so vintagey type of look. Don't you guys think? All right. So I'm going to finish off this video just showing you the backgrounds and what they ended up looking like. So these are the 3 butterfly ones that I created. I really love all of them. I think it came out really good. That's just my sheet, my scrap sheet. Then I'm going to go take out the nested circle ones that I have. I made 2 of those, and then I made these raw onion ones. I did make one more that I cut out, but I just wanted to show you guys it didn't come out like I was thinking. That might be saved for a salvage Sunday, and I hope you guys enjoyed the finished products. I will link for that video above. Have a great night.